everybody. Welcome to Coming Up Roses. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Kelly, and today is Saturday, November 12th, 2022. This is episode 82.
82. All right.
Got it that time.
And
Tilly's voicing in. I don't know why she's mad, but
why are you pissed, baby?
She's grumbling. She said it's taking too long for them to count the votes.
Yeah, that's true. I saw a meme where Big Bird was heading to Arizona. It says, I got to teach these fuckers how to count.
Here's the thing, like when I was young, I don't remember. You got election results the night of the election.
Yeah.
I don't remember it taking days and days and weeks to get election results.
No.
Is that and I mean, then we did the old school, like, actually, I can't say old school because the way we vote now in our district anyway is old school with a pen filling in a bubble. But when I was young, it was the little, you used to feed the thing in and then you would punch the
machine
the
would punch
chads or whatever. And you
for
had
a while,
results
Virginia
the night
Beach
of the
even had
election.
a touch screen.
Yeah, it went to touch screen. I guess that's too easy to hack.
But Arizona had a bunch of trouble because, like, in one of the apparently Maricopa County, which is their like most populous area, like Phoenix, a bunch of their machines malfunctioned. Like 20% of their machines wasn't counting any votes at all.
I mean,
so there was all kinds of trouble.
How are you not making sure the machines work before election day?
I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. Florida, everybody famously remembers Florida 2000.
They were the original election
2000, where they had like the hanging chads and everything went and all, that was just a huge mess. Florida said, we're fixing it. And they did. They sat there and at polls closed at 7 o'clock. By 7:30, they were like, here's our result.
Well, to be fair, in Florida, the margin was real wide. It wasn't a close race.
Yeah.
And I guess when it's like 49-49, you're making sure you count every vote carefully.
I guess.
It just seems weird that we have a longer amount of time to vote now, because they're doing all this early voting, but it takes longer to vote it, to count it.
Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy.
So I feel like I've not voted early. I'm one of those. I mean, during the pandemic, we did do early curbside because it was the pandemic.
Yeah.
Why is she upset? Oh, I know why she's upset.
Oh, what? Is there a grabby?
There's a grabby over there.
All right.
We're just gonna be listening to her.
No?
Growl through the whole show because
if you grab it. Hold on, everybody. Ready for this?
Get loud, people. Okay, it's all gone. Thank you. We have one of these things that you can grab. You squeeze it and it grabs things that are far away from you. She hates them. And so Dad had one leaning up against the table and she's just sitting there growling at it.
Ready to attack because it might get mommy.
She's great. She knows it's on the table too, so she's gonna be very unsettled.
She's a little neurotic about it now. I can't see it. It's worse.
But I feel like if you vote early, you should be voting at a registrar's office.
Yeah.
And so you vote and you put it in the machine and it counts it right then and there.
I guess the idea is that particularly during the campaign, they were trying to limit people's exposure to other people. So that's where the whole mail-in thing came in. But
no, I know that, but like Arizona says, like if you're mailing in your vote, you have until midnight of election day to put it in the mail, and then they have to wait days for it to get to you. Right. So then they don't count those until after election day.
Yeah, and that's only if it's close, if it's like a landslide.
So maybe if you're doing mail-in voting, you should have a week earlier of a deadline.
That's the way it is here.
Right. They close early voting a week before election day. Because that way those votes can all be counted and ready to go. And then you're just counting on what's happening on actual election day.
Whatever model Florida presents is what everybody should be doing. Because they had it down. Florida had it down. I'm sorry, but they did.
But also, none of their races were close.
Even still, I bet you they still would have had an easier count.
I don't know. But
even the last the 2020 election, they had it down. Florida was called early. They and there was a close race in Florida.
We in our district here in Virginia, and they changed the rules a little bit this year because you used to have at-large city council and at-large school board that the city would vote on, and then there were district representatives. But now there's just districts. So
and you only vote for what's in your district, right? You're not voting for Pungo.
You just vote
you're not
for
voting
your own
for
district.
Kempsville.
So in our district in Virginia Beach, the only vote was for the House of Representatives, or senator.
No, it's a
House seat.
District 2 House.
There was no city council. There was no school board. There was nothing else. There was literally one item on the ballot. Why did it take so long for this district to come in? I was watching like the Virginia Beach stuff because that's really what I was most interested in. And it just kept saying our district, it hasn't come in yet. Hasn't come in. I'm like, there was one thing on the ballot.
It seemed like they didn't even start counting until almost 9:00 at night.
I don't know. It seemed weird, but anyway.
Because they were saying 0% reporting, and then they'd start throwing out percentages. It's like, how the fuck are you giving me percentages if you've got 0% reporting? So I don't understand how
the election is over, but not really, because Georgia has to have a runoff election.
Yeah, the Senate.
I think Arizona did call it for Mark Kelly.
It's going to be still a Democrat-held Senate, and the House is still up in the air, but probably going to be a Republican House, which divided government is actually not bad
the
at all.
best way to go.
Yeah, because they're not going to pass any stupid spending bills like that's what's driving up all the inflation. But at the same time, if your concern is the environment, they're not going to be able to like just start drilling tomorrow, which okay.
This is basically stagnant government now for another 2 years.
Which that's good. Stagnant government is good. It's better than active government by far. A government that doesn't do shit is a great government.
Yeah. They called it for Mark Kelly in Arizona. So now what are we waiting on? Nevada and Georgia.
Yeah.
Right.
But Georgia is already going to go to a runoff.
Yeah, I mean they're not counting in Georgia anymore. They're going to have to.
They have to do it. They have the thing on December 6th, which the likelihood is that the Democrats going to win that because no one seems to like.
So it's 95% reporting. The Republican candidate is 48.5%. And the Democrat candidate is 48.4%. You literally could not get closer. They are 900 votes apart.
And that's another thing. I mean, how is it that it used to be that you'd have your solid base, which always voted for your party, regardless of who they put up. Vote blue no matter who, vote red until you're dead. Either one, and those are those people. And then there was always the independents, which the independents were the ones that you were trying to vie for. And that's where people were like middle of the road.
No one's voting for it. Look at this. The third vote getter was none of these candidates, 1.2%.
None of the above.
And then Barry Lyndman, which was a no party preference, he got 0.8%, and Neil Scott, Libertarian Party, got 6.6%.
Yeah.
So.
But here's the thing about that. People just don't. If you're not part of the main,
vote none of these candidates. You just don't select one.
There's a great movie from back in the 80s called Brewster's Millions. If you ever get a chance to watch it, I don't know if it's on any streamers, but you got to watch it. It's a fantastic movie. It's a Richard Pryor.
Yeah, I know the movie.
But one of the big things in that movie is that he decides he's got to spend all this money so he can inherit a huge inheritance from his dead uncle. He had to spend $30 million to inherit $300 million.
Right.
To spend it, he couldn't own anything. He had to end up with nothing after spending $30 million. The way he decides to do that is to run his own campaign, and he was having people vote for none of the above. And he just ran this great campaign for none of the above, just vote none of the above. And it's great.
But there's not an option to vote not on ours anyway.
Apparently not. But apparently in Arizona, they decided none of the above.
If they hadn't put that on there, then they would probably have a winner declared because it got 1.2% of the vote.
Yeah.
I'm going to go and mark my ballot for I'm not voting.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well have stayed
People
home.
are going to do what they need to do with their vote, but okay. So anyway, interesting, super easy voting experience for us. Like I said, it was a one little mark and we were in and out.
Yeah,
It took mom and
it
dad
was
longer to vote curbside than it took for us to walk in and vote.
Yeah, they kind of didn't have their shit together for that. We walked in,
We were
they
there
were in the
super early.
curb side. They thought they had a phone number on the curbside. They did not. We told them that they were out there waiting, and it actually took us longer to walk around the gymnasium to get to where we could vote than it took to vote. That's how quick it was. Um, so yeah, it was a good experience as far as that goes. The we didn't have a long, like when we had long lines. We had long lines for the two Obama races. 2016 there was a long line. We didn't have 2020. We voted at the registrar curbside, so there was no line. Well, there was a line. We just in the car, so that's nothing.
It was weird.
Yeah,
You really have to put your trust in the people handling your ballot.
yeah.
Because, you know, when you go in and vote, which this was different this time too, they always ask for your identification in Virginia anyway. They took my ID and they scanned it into the system, and then they typed in a bunch of stuff, and then they printed out like this receipt, and they said, take this receipt to the next table and they'll give you your ballot. So I went, I gave the receipt, and then the lady took the receipt and gave the ballot. So I guess the receipt is just proof that
You are who
I was there and I have voted.
You are
so
a valid voter.
Then you take your ballot and you mark it and you feed it yourself into the machine and you watch it tally it up. But when you do curbside or mail in or whatever, you're really putting your faith into someone else actually being responsible enough. And I think the registrar's office, I wouldn't have as much of a problem as people who work at the registrar's office. But like,
yeah, because when you go to your polling
post
places,
office
that's
to
all
get
volunteers.
you know, they said that some ballots fell off a UPS truck. I mean, I don't know.
Well, there's something called ballot harvesting, and that's where if you, as the Republican Party or the Democratic Party, you could have a representative go and drive around and pick up votes from individuals. So they could drive through a neighborhood and they'll have a list of people that they know are going to vote for their respective candidate. So if I'm working for the DNC, I could go around and say, these people have registered as Democrat. I'm going to make sure I go pick up their vote and make sure
it gets I do not agree with that.
Yeah, because any number of things can happen.
People who are homebound or can't get out to the polls, or they don't have transportation, and whatever the reasons are, people say people can't vote on election day. You have to make an effort to exercise that civil right, in my opinion. And I don't disagree with absentee balloting and mail-in. Like, I can understand the need for that, because if you're elderly and you can't physically like go stand in a line at the polls or at the polls or whatever, but I don't want someone coming to my house to pick up the ballot.
Yeah.
Like, you could either mail it, you know,
within a certain
time frame, or you show up at the polls on that day. The thing with the mailing it
used to be you had to have a reason for it too.
Again, then you're still going off to like, am I who I say I am?
Yeah.
You know, so
and that's why there's so much of this, because both and it's not one side or the other. I know a lot of people like, oh, 2020 people were denying the election. 2016 people were denying the election. 2012 people were denying the election. I mean, they were 2020 there was big controversy. So when you say, oh, election denial, both parties do it. So it's, if you know, to say that one side or the other, blah blah blah. But having said that,
one side may have been a much more suspicious
if you have they make the process so much easier, and then next thing you know, you have record number vote counts out of nowhere, voting for two possibly the worst candidates of all time.
There's also this theory of like, I looked into, even though I didn't have anybody on my ballot for city council, but I looked at other districts and I went to campaign websites and
Mhm.
they all say the same freaking thing.
Yeah.
Unless you really know the candidates and what they stand for, you're voting for a name.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that
there are some websites that are trying to do better about that. Like I like Ballotpedia because they try to get every candidate to fill out a survey that gives you a little bit more detail about individual issues.
yeah,
But
that's
very
what you
few
need
of
to
those
know about.
politicians will fill that out. So they want to use general platitudes so they have some leeway in what they really are actually going to do. So, and I think the whole idea of having, your principles on display, it's more about, how you look and how you present yourself. So people aren't
Yeah.
voting for policy; they're voting for how do you make me feel? How do you make me
Unfortunately, we
feel?
are in a time where people are just voting for a party.
Yeah, and that shouldn't be.
I mean, I saw a lot of candidates on both sides this time around that I was like, yeah, I agree with that, and I agree with that. If you just have to, I guess, prioritize what's most important to you, and that's like an individual thing.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I am not a super political person. Again, I'm very middle of the road. And so, but I find elections fascinating. I can watch election results. It's 7 minutes until the next polls close, and you're watching those numbers change, and people, the things. To me, it's just really fascinating to watch.
Yeah.
And I generally don't have like a strong feeling one way or the other because, again, I'm not the person to talk to if you want passionate political conversation, but it's still very interesting.
Oh yeah.
And then, channel flipping and seeing how different channels are reporting the same information is always really interesting to me. How they're putting their spin on things.
Yeah.
Is always kind of fun. So yeah, there was the election, which for most places was decisive and done and within one night. But
what was the more difficult on election day was watching you have to change your password for what was it? I want to say it was PayPal or whatever it was.
PayPal. Okay, so I
You know what you never have trouble with? Cash App, $K Rose VA. Anyway,
there's never anything in there.
Yeah.
I sell Color Street nails, and so most of my customers buy directly from me, and they use Venmo or PayPal. And more of them use Venmo than anything. But I have a couple customers that use PayPal, and I don't particularly use PayPal all that often. So I had money in my PayPal account that I was transferring into my checking account. And I was in the car with Kevin, and I was
hilarious.
Trying to log on. I actually, see, here's the problem. I have two PayPal accounts. One I set up years ago for something specific that I don't use anymore. And then a more personal one, which they've kind of merged now, right? So I have two different logins. And for a long time, it was one login on my phone, and I was logged in to the other PayPal account. It's really stupid on my iPad. But so I only used, anyway, I was trying to log in and I had the password wrong. How I had the password wrong, I don't know, because I haven't recently changed the password.
Yeah.
And
so they wanted to make sure that she was who she was.
Right. So it kept giving me the we're gonna make sure you're not a robot.
The CAPTCHA.
Check all the pictures that have cars in it. And so I hate, and I'm on my, I'm on my phone, and the pictures are tiny and my eyes are shitty. So I'm like touching it.
And there's always that one square that has
like,
just
do you hit it or not? Because it has just a sliver of the tire in it. Does that count or does it not count? Who knows? So I went through and I did that. And then it still wouldn't, like, it came right back up to that. And it's like, we're going to make sure you're not a robot. This time, all the crosswalks. And so I'm like,
again, same thing. There's that little sliver in the corner.
Then it could, it run and it goes right back to it. And it goes, we're going to make sure you're not a robot. I was getting so, I
It was
literally
hilarious.
was in the car like, I'm not a fucking robot.
It was great.
But
screaming at her phone, not a fucking robot.
The third time it said, touch the pictures that don't have a car in it. So I'm like, well, and then I would and then it said, keep touching it until there are no cars left.
Keep touching it.
Like it just kept changing the rules on me. And I was like, okay. And the pictures kept changing. And then, oh, ding, you did it, ding. And it would go through and it was like, this is not your password. Okay. So I need to change my password. I clicked forgot password. Well, we need to make sure you're not a robot. It took 20 minutes.
20 minutes in the car, yeah.
Of me fucking screaming at my phone and reaffirming that I was not a robot probably 10 times until it finally.
That's what they need to build into the capsule is a speaker that listens, a microphone.
It has one.
It sits there and says, I'm not a fucking robot. So it knows, hey, this person's not a robot. Not only are they not a robot, they're not a fucking robot.
Finally, it led me to the place where I could change the password. So I changed the password and I had to do the I'm not a robot thing one more time, but then I got logged in. So it's like, oh, thank God, right? That wasn't the account that had the money in it that I needed to transfer. That money went to my other PayPal account. So then I was like, damn it, I need to log in under my other PayPal account. We have to make sure you're not a robot. That's not the correct password. I was so pissed. For $30, I was trying to transfer $30 damn from my PayPal account to my, well, $29.78 because they charge you money to transfer it to your checking account. I was so irritated, but I finally got logged in. I hate the picture. Give me the weird letters, because if I can't tell what they are, I just like do a new one.
Sooner or later, you're going to see something you recognize. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. Especially when I'm on my phone. Like those pictures are little.
Yeah.
I was so mad. And I shouldn't be mad. I should be thankful that PayPal was really trying to protect my account. But it was trying to protect my account from me. It has Face ID, fucking finger ID, what else? I'm going to have to prick my finger for blood and stick it on there. Like, come on, DNA.
Lick your phone.
Yeah. It's a quick DNA check to see if you are who you say you are.
Piss test.
God. It was so irritating. Makes me want to like just not use PayPal at all anymore. Venmo, I never had that problem with Venmo.
Cash App.
I've never had that problem with Cash App. However, I've never had anybody pay with Cash App.
I know.
I had someone pay with Apple Pay. I've had someone pay through Facebook Pay, Venmo, PayPal, cash, check. Yeah, that was probably my most frustrating point of the week, because I was trying to get into school and I only worked 2 days last week, and one of them got started off like that. Crazy.
But it was fun.
It was fun for him. Wasn't fun for me. I was getting so damn pissed off.
Yeah, you were.
And then I was just like, I'm not giving up. They're probably going to lock me out of this account.
Oh, yeah.
Which I did get locked out of an account, a school account this week. I went to get my license is up for renewal. And so I
took the day off so I could drive her.
You use that as a reason to take the day off.
Oh yeah, I 100% just finding any reason to take a day off, I'll take it. So go ahead.
I have to have hands-on CPR, whatever, to get my license renewed. I have all my other classes, all my other certifications, everything else updated, just waiting on this CPR thing. So last time I had my license renewed and I had to do the CPR training, you signed up for a 2-hour class, you went to the class, they did all the training, you did whatever on the dummy, you're good to go, right? Because it's run through the schools. It's not technically like, I'm not CPR certified. I've had the hands-on training. So there's not a red cross.
There's a difference.
There's a difference. So I thought that's what this was. I signed up, clicked the little thing, registered for the class, didn't think another thing of it. I get there, and the first thing the woman says to me is, go sign in, hand sanitizer, on your hands. They have all the dummies laid out on the floor. And she's like, you had a chance to watch the videos, right? And I'm like, no. What videos? I never got any email or anything saying there were videos that I had to watch. She goes, oh, wow. Do you have your computer with you? You can watch them here. And I'm like, well, I don't carry my computer around with me everywhere I go. No, I have my phone. Can I watch them on my phone? She goes, well, if you can log in, which I could not log in.
Because she's not a robot.
Log in. Same freaking password I use for work all day long, because every time my computer goes to sleep, I have to re-enter all my information. Could not get logged in. And then it finally just said, your account's been locked. I'm like, fuck. So I said to her, I can't. Am I just gonna have to sign up for another time? She's pretty much like, yeah. So I had to leave without the hands-on CPR certification.
I had to bank a UE.
So when I get to school the next day to sign up for the next class, which is in December, I read the course description. There's a link to the videos in the course description.
Don't show up about
it was my fault. However, the one I was registered for, the November one, it was in big red bold print, watch these videos, which was not there when I signed up. The December one was there, but it was not in big red bold. So it would not capture you. I don't need to read the course description. I know what this is. So to hide something in the course description, I thought was a little shady. Although I was the only person who didn't see it. Everyone else there had watched the videos.
Don't you hate that shit? That's bullshit.
They're probably all videos I've seen. I've had the CPR training, the mandatory training, and the AED training and all that. I've done all that mandatory training for this year. I probably could have lied and been like, oh yeah, I watched them and gotten through it. Because literally you just have to get on the dummy and show you how to do compressions, and that's it. And I know that information. I should have,
because the machine tells you how to do it.
I should have.
I saw the videos because remember the Jewel had that day of free classes.
Yeah.
And I took one of the ones that I took was the CPR class. I was just like, I'll take it. And it's the same thing. You're not CPR certified, but you know.
Well, and they change it. Like it was not what it was when I was a kid and had CPR.
Yeah, you don't do breaths.
You don't do breaths anymore, and
thank God.
All that kind of stuff. But like, you know, anyway. So now I have to look forward to doing that all over again in December. Super excited about it.
The big thing I got out of that was that the guy saying, you know, he looks at me and he goes, people your size tend to believe that if you try to do CPR, you're actually going to do more harm than good. Like you're going to break this person's ribs. And I was like, yeah, that's
you're going to break their ribs anyway.
It. He says, you're going to do that. Anybody's going to do that anyway. If you do this correctly, you're going to break somebody's ribs. They're better off with you doing that than you sitting there and letting them die. And I was like, oh, all right. It made me feel better.
My problem is with my size and my arthritis of my knees so bad. I don't know how I'm going to get down on the floor to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to ask if they can, like, my sister said they can put it up on a table and you can do the hands-on shit while it's on a table.
Yeah.
So I just have to ask, but the woman was didn't seem very accommodating. She had the whole high school PE teacher vibe, and not to put anything out against anybody who's a high school PE teacher, but as a heavy person going through high school, the PE teachers had a very,
they look down on you if you're not.
Yeah, they weren't the friendliest of people, the most approachable. We didn't have a lot in common.
Yeah, if you weren't a particular type, if you weren't a jock, you were like less
and this person had that vibe. Like, I don't want to freaking be here. This is just annoying.
You're one of those people who doesn't
You
take
should
care
be able
of
to get on the
themselves.
floor, blah, 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 blah.
You should be able to do these hamstrings and squats.
Right. So I was kind of like, oh. Not only did I not watch the videos, then I'm going to turn around and say, hey, look, I'm too fat to get on the floor and my knees hurt. So can you rearrange all of this shit so that it's convenient for me? I'm sure that would have gone over well with that lady. I have to look forward to that in December. Mm-hmm. May try to email her.
Would have taught her. She would have had to help get you up.
I would have been able to get myself up. It just would have been a spectacle. And I don't want to make a spectacle out of myself. Yeah. And it's on the hard freaking tile floor. They don't even...
Oh,
not even in the library where it could be carpeted or something. No, it's right there in the hallway.
Even the gym, because even though the gym is that board, it's not the same as hard tile.
Anyway, so yeehaw to me. I have one more of these to do.
But then you're done forever.
Yeah, hopefully.
I mean, ever.
My license won't expire for 10 more years. So
Yeah.
by in 10 more years, I really think I'll be doing something different.
Yeah, probably so.
One of the things we realized when we did the voting was the whole curbside thing and how we are still some of these conveniences from the pandemic
Continue on.
are sticking around and really helping like handicapped and elderly people.
And I think if there's any bright spot out of the whole pandemic, there is that, because like we're much more accustomed to do our big grocery shopping online, which is way easier than actually going into
And
the
cheaper.
store.
We spend a lot less money.
Because we had mom wanted to go to the Teeter to go grocery shopping for Thanksgiving. She's kind of bound and determined to go through and walk through the grocery store, and that's exhausting. But you order it online, you show up at the Walmart, pop your little back in, person shows up.
I could see
throws all
picking
stuff
out your
back
own
there.
turkey because you want a turkey of a certain size.
Yeah.
And I know people like to pick out their own meats and vegetables and stuff, but
I get that, but I mean, for like our weekly stuff where most of it's just going to be like, paper plates, it doesn't matter as long as they fit the size. We don't care what they look like. Cans of blah, blah, blah. The can is a can is a can.
yeah, it's not like we're making a lot of fresh
Yeah.
prepped food.
Yeah.
We are.
So-
Speaking of food,
You hit your goal, right?
I did finally hit my wonder goal. So I set a new wonder goal. But this week on antibiotics just made me want to do nothing but eat shit.
Yeah.
And so I gained like 3 pounds, but then I quickly lost that plus whatever I needed to get to my goal. So I am officially at
You're gonna throw the number out there.
I'm not gonna throw the number of how much I weigh out there. I ain't that open with my life. 63.1 pounds.
There you go.
So, and then I probably gained all that back with breakfast this morning, but
Yeah.
it's all right.
Yeah. That's all right.
I just won't eat for the rest of the day today until dinner.
Which we haven't even thought about dinner yet. So
No.
today's going to be warm, and then the rest of the week is going to be cold, which is what November's supposed to be. I'm sitting there in shorts on, going to the store earlier, and it's like,
Yeah, it's like 75 or something today, and then gonna get in the 50s, which is good. I have 1 full week of work, and then a half a week of work, and then it's Thanksgiving.
And then I don't have any time off until next month.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my normal Saturday, Sunday, but
Yeah, Thanksgiving's gonna suck because you have to work.
yeah.
You can't even help me the night before, toast all the bread and shit because you're working. Sucks.
Yeah. Well, mom will be able to help you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tilly will lend moral support.
So the only other thing I did this week was I attempted my first Lego set.
Oh,
You can
yeah.
see it right there. My dad and I did a Christmas village, and there's a little like a trolley train and little travelers and a couple of shops and a Christmas tree and a post office and stuff.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun, actually. I helped out a little bit.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah.
And then I went to the Lego website, like, oh, I could do more of these, but I didn't really find anything that was speaking to me.
And
that wasn't
really
under
good stuff
$200.
that's expensive as hell. So Lego's got a tremendous library of stuff, but a lot of it is super expensive. Like the really cool stuff is super expensive.
Yeah.
So
More expensive than I'm willing to put into it, and I don't have room to display it anyway. So there's that. Gonna paint the window for the front door.
Yeah,
for
picked
Christmas.
up the paints for
got
that.
that done. I got a pattern made for it. I think it's a little bit too small.
Yeah.
We'll see. I'll have to put it up there on the door and see.
I want to make a sign for the nativity. I really do. Something for my dad. Because that's what we used to like. He really wanted to put a nice nativity out in the front yard every year. So we had these blow molds, plastic blow molds for Mary, Joseph, the baby, the wise men, animals, angel, star. I mean, the whole set, right? The classic blow molds, and then we built a structure and put hay down at the bottom and a little bit of hay at the top, and just did this whole big rig for the star and everything. It was like, it was an awesome setup. but I don't have that kind of. First of all, I'd have to go out and find the blow molds, which you can't buy anymore, I guess, and then putting it all together and blah blah blah. I'm not going to do that, but we did buy a cool, just wooden, stand up one. So I just want to put a little small sign out there for the Arthur Rose Memorial Nativity Scene. Yeah.
Well, what are you going to make the sign of?
I don't know. I have to figure it out.
Yeah, we did. I am looking forward to Christmas this year, and I'm looking for new light displays to do. And I saw there's like a horse ranch or something in Chesapeake that does one.
Mm-hmm.
Might want to do that.
That was a drive-through too. So
one
of my favorite drive-throughs is always going to be the Botanical Gardens. That's always a good go. The beach oceanfront strip. The last few times we went, it wasn't all that. They've got a lot of missing lights. I don't think they put the money into, replacing the lights, and it's pretty much the same every year. It's the 12 Days of Christmas mixed in with other stuff that's kind of the same, blah blah blah. And then driving through courthouse estates, because those people out there do it up. Like each little courthouse estate, if you're not familiar, it's over by the courthouse in Virginia Beach. There's this big, huge housing development with smaller, made up of a bunch of small, I guess, neighborhoods. And they're, you enter in, there's a bunch of neighborhood, and you come out, and then you move over a little bit, there's another neighborhood, and you come out, and you move over a little bit, there's another neighborhood, and you come out, and it encompasses this big circle. So there's a bunch of neighborhoods in these circles, and then a bunch of neighborhoods in the middle. And they apparently do competitions and shit in each neighborhood. And the one that really was impressive, one year looked exactly, they made their house look like a damn gingerbread house.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, that was amazing. So that's always fun.
Just random. This has nothing to do with anything we were just talking about, but United Airlines is going to start blocking seats because people weigh more. So they're going to be like not selling seats so that it says the average summer weight for females increased from 145 pounds to 179 pounds. And the average winter weight went from 150 to 184.
Wow.
And then men, summer weight went from 185 to 200, and winter weight went from 190 to 205. So they're not selling all their seats. They're going to block off seats and not sell them. And here's my suggestion to United Airlines: just make the seats bigger. If you're not going to sell the middle seat, then take out those 3 seats and make the 2 seats wider. Yeah. And then not only will your passengers be more comfortable, they won't have to worry about being up on top of somebody who's too big for their liking. If people are getting heavier. And I understand the whole weight thing. You can't, pack a plane down with heavy fucks. I get it. That's why I don't fly. I ain't going to be the person that's making someone take their luggage off the plane. But make the seats more comfortable.
Somebody's got to be out there thinking, I can make a mint doing an airline just for heavy folks. Call it heavy air or chubby air or heavy air. Heavy air sounds good. Heavy air. That's heavy, man. That's heavy. And then that would be the commercial. Just big old fat fucks going into the plane. Have a seat. Here's a nice bag of peanuts, not the little dink bag. They spring for the fucking nice bag of peanuts. Cashews, man. Bam, here you go.
Chocolate covered one. I mean,
I think that would go over well. I think
you think so? You think people would?
That's just like my Hardee's ad. I've always dreamed that Hardee's would do an ad where like you'd see some health nut like running, and then he gets hit by a bus, but the guy's like eating a biscuit or
someone
something.
Sitting at the bus
like
stop.
Healthy people died too.
Oh boy.
Oh.
Anyway, there's all that. We didn't prep a game for today.
Yeah, we can grab one. Let's grab this game.
This one that says game right behind us.
Game. So I do want to make a mention. Yesterday, there was two big celebrity deaths. There was Gallagher, which Gallagher, but one of my
Watermelons
favorite
everywhere.
guys, yeah, are sighing a breath of relief. But Kevin Conroy, who was the voice of Batman he is the voice of Batman. He was the Batman voice for the Batman animated series. When I read a Batman comic book, I hear Kevin Conroy's voice. And he passed. He had apparently had cancer, and it was very quick. I mean, he was diagnosed and gone in a very short amount of time. So and just watching TikTok and all the creators that I follow that are comic book people, they're devastated by it. Mark Hamill, who worked with him as the Joker, except for it's just something, a guy who's like a big part of the comic book lexicon.
Is devastated the right word?
A little bit. I mean, like I said, and a lot of people were saying the same thing. When you read a Batman comic book, when you hear the voice in your head, it is Kevin Conroy's voice. And there's been tons of voice actors that have done it, but no one's ever done it better. He is the Batman.
To me, devastated is you get a call from the hospital that your husband's been in a car accident and died. That's devastating.
Yeah. Well,
your house is blown away in a hurricane. That's devastating.
Yeah.
An actor who you really liked did the voice work of a comic book character. I don't know if devastating
you're right.
Right
devastating word. Is probably not the right
word. Sad, shocking.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's devastating.
Yeah. Well, shout out to Kevin Conroy. He was the best Batman. So there you go. All right. Who's most likely to?
Is always the little spoon.
What the fuck does that mean?
Like when you're spooning, the one on the inside.
Oh.
We don't spoon a lot because now, especially because we have the bed that's got the
split bed, yeah.
Split bed.
But even then, I guess you would be the.
I would be the little spoon, I would imagine. Never really thought.
That's just weird.
I guess I am. Question.
And is way down to go to Chuck E. Cheese. Chuck E. Cheese, hell.
He would be down to go to Chuck E. Cheese way before I would be down to go to Chuck E. Cheese.
Probably. I've gone to Chuck E. Cheese for my great nephew's birthday. And it's an experience. And
if I said to you today, let's go to Chuck E. Cheese for lunch, you'd be like, all right, let's do it. If you said to me, let's go to Chuck E. Cheese for lunch, I'd be like, are you high? No. I'm not going there. That's true. You would be way more down.
I'm a little bit more open to experiencing something like that because I know it's going to be just a freak fuck show. I mean, it's just, that's what it is. And it's fantastic. Don't get me wrong. One of the best things I ever saw, I think I've talked about on the show, was one day I wanted to go pick Kelly up, and apparently it was going to be Chuck E. Cheese night at the Chuck E. Cheese at Brookwood. Mm-hmm. It was Brookwood night at Chuck E. Cheese. So they decided they'd have Chucky meet the kids out at the bus stop.
Without telling the teachers Chucky was going to be there.
So as I'm pulling in, I see, wow, there's Chuck E. Cheese standing outside the thing. And then I see the doors open up. And this dude was bum rushed by no less than 600 kids. That is my worst nightmare. And I was like, holy shit. And this guy got just completely overtaken by this wave of children, all yelling, Chucky!
Well, at that time, kindergarten went out first. And so, I mean, if now fifth grade goes out first, I doubt it would be the same. Fifth graders would probably be too cool to run up on Chucky like that. But we're like, from now on, teachers need a heads up so we can prep the kids that he's out there.
Oh my God.
And is it Chucky or just Chuck?
Well, they call him Chucky.
So he goes by his first name and his middle initial?
Yeah, I guess so.
It's weird.
It is weird.
Okay. Yeah, that was pretty funny. But I am not a Chuck E. Cheese fan.
No.
I think it's the teacher in me that just, it's like your worst nightmare of a classroom. Mm-hmm. With all the parents that are watching, the kids just be completely ridiculous.
Buck wild, ridiculous.
And you can't do anything because it's really not your classroom. So you're just sitting there watching it.
It's still better than like Showbiz Pizza though, which was the Chuck E. Cheese knockoff. They were scumbag. They were scumbag.
Did you see the Chuck E. Cheese pizza that was like the Chucky doll from the horror movie?
Yeah.
The whole restaurant was themed around Chucky.
Mm.
We'll only speak to you via text.
That's
most likely to text.
I think that's more you than me.
I think I'm more of a texter.
Yeah.
than you are.
Because I can't spell.
You text me a lot.
Yeah. Well, I've gotten better about it because Apple's predictive text has gotten a
I
little
don't
better.
give you shit about spelling on your
No,
texts.
but I spell out whole words instead of trying to do the LOL and all that other bullshit. So
you're not a phone conversation person.
no, I don't like doing that. I hate
it.
leaving answer. Even for work, I hate leaving messages on
I
answer
hate
machine.
it. That's the worst.
Yeah.
I'd rather leave a message on an answering machine than talk to a person.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I'd rather not do any of it. Uses inspirational quotes in their email signature. Neither one of us really.
Don't do that. But who would be more likely to do that? I would be more likely to do that than you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably.
I only have an email signature at work, and it's just kindergarten teacher.
Yeah. Well, I got a signature at work, but it's like,
ambassador.
who's my soup? What's my work hours?
Yeah.
I'm not throwing anything out there because what am I
No
going to do?
inspirational
Milton
Milton
Friedman,
Friedman,
or no? Who's that going to go to?
Thinks Africa is a country.
No, Africa is a continent, and it's made up of like 100 countries.
That's a dumb question. Neither one of us. We're smarter than that.
Yeah. And I know Wakanda isn't a real country. Laughs at jokes they don't get. That's probably more you than
laughs at jokes they don't get.
Like you fake laugh.
I will fake laugh. You won't. In fact, if Kevin tells a joke that's not funny and I don't laugh, he's like, nothing. You didn't get it. I'm like, no, I got it. I just didn't think it was funny. So I have to fake laugh just so that you don't get offended.
Yeah.
But I don't. Not for you anyway. I probably fake laugh for other people.
Yeah.
Is plotting revenge right now?
Yeah, I'm not more.
Are we either one of us plotting
neither
revenge?
One of us are big on revenge.
I wouldn't even have anyone to plot revenge against.
Yeah. My mom would hold like a grudge.
You do not hold grudges.
I don't hold grudges. I should, but
I hold a grudge more than you do.
Yeah.
But I don't plot revenge on anybody.
No, I don't plot revenge either.
Okay. We're both clear we're not revenge plotters.
Volunteers to ride in the trunk of a car. Neither one of us would fit.
For what reason?
Going to a drive-in.
Okay. I wouldn't volunteer to ride in the trunk.
No, I wouldn't either.
This is being a big flop of a game.
Might have to draw more.
Has bursts of compulsive cleaning.
No.
Every now and then I will be like, oh, let's go in and clean the bedroom.
Yeah.
But not usually.
Discovers the meaning of life on a daily basis. Now, I will say that I do try to find meaning in things. I don't know about the meaning of life, but like I'll see something, I'm like, huh, and I try to look at the deeper aspects of things, but not like on a daily basis. Just every now and again, something to strike me as like, huh, and then I'll start thinking about it, but not on a daily basis. Maybe on a weekly. But
I tried the other night to express to Kevin how important he was to me, and he basically told me I shouldn't feel that way.
No, it wasn't that. It was I don't know what I was doing with that.
The box is right there.
Which one? Oh.
Oh, we're doing more?
No. Those went by a little too quick, I think. So we'll do what, 3 more?
Sure.
2, 3. 2, 3. Shit. All right, guys.
You ready?
Yep.
Peaked in high school.
Oh, neither one of us. Yeah, high school was horrible for us.
Sucked.
All right. Where's American flag clothing? That's me.
I was gonna say you probably have something semi-American flag on you right now.
Yeah. Not just because of Captain America. I do actually have some flag stuff. So
yeah, some stuff with flags on it. You don't have anything that's made out or to look like the American.
No.
You're not supposed to wear that stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Is obsessed with beards.
Neither one of us. I mean, I have a beard, but I'm not obsessed
I hope you're not obsessed with beards.
Yeah.
I'm not really obsessed with beards. I like you better with a beard than without it.
Yeah.
But
I
it's
don't
not
do
like
the Brian Johnson beard or anything.
Yeah, like
that.
grooming it and putting the beard butter and all that shit in it.
People spend hundreds
like a
of dollars
ZZ Top beard.
Like they have a beard, like the Dollar Shave Club, or every month they send you a thing, but they have beard clubs where they send you oils and fucking chromes and various ways to treat your beard.
I mean, that's if
that.
you're like super
stupid, crazy.
Just I don't want to say vain, but what's the word? Like
vain seems to work. Narcissistic.
No, just careful about your appearance.
Oh, fuck, I don't know. We need one of them thesauruses.
People who are not like us. Yeah. As I sit here with my wet hair from my shower this morning and my bum t-shirt.
You guys don't watch us for how we look.
So. I don't even have nails on. Man. Getting ready to put them
I'm actually shocked that we don't have a bigger audience on Spotify than we do on YouTube. I don't know why you folks want to watch us. You can listen to us on Spotify, but fuck it, whatever you want to do. You know, send some cash over would be nice. But,
Oh, stop it with that.
Probably buys likes on Instagram. What does that mean?
How do you buy likes on Instagram? I didn't even know you could do that.
I don't know. Explain this shit.
I don't really use Instagram that much. I'm on Instagram, but I don't understand it really.
Yeah.
And so I don't use it.
It's just a photo viewer more than anything else.
Yeah. All right. Sits at a stop sign waiting for it to turn green. Well, that's definitely not you because you don't sit at stop signs. You don't even pause at stop signs.
Oh, I pause.
That stop sign at the end of our street. When's the last time
that's not a real stop sign, though.
It's a real stop sign, people.
Whatever.
It's in the ground, shaped like a hexagon.
I think they put it there thinking that they were going to complete the road and it was going to go to somewhere out in Hunt Club. And they said, no, we don't want to cut these trees down. They put the sign there and they're just too lazy to pick it up.
It's a stop sign. It's not as an octagon, not a hexagon, right?
Octagon, yeah.
Yeah, see, shaped like it. But it is a stop sign. Nonetheless. Just because you don't agree with it doesn't mean you don't have to follow the law.
Waits in the 3-hour line for a new iPhone. That's neither one of us either. The only time we ever waited in line for something like that, we went with Michael to, Mom's printing something. We went with Michael to get the last Harry Potter book. Remember we waited in line at midnight at the Barnes & Noble?
Vaguely.
Yeah. And
I don't wait in lines for stuff. Yeah. Really, I try not to.
All right, so that's it, folks. Next week we'll go on about whatever and get closer to Thanksgiving.
Maybe next week we'll share some of our favorite Thanksgiving recipes or traditions, which we won't be able to enjoy any of this year because you have to work.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It is what it is.
I got Christmas this year, so
you do have Christmas. That's true.
So
can't complain.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it for now. Until next week.
Bye, everybody.